Hi guys, well in NVIDIA's pursuit to cover all eventualities, the green team are back again today with another release, and so for it we have the ZOTAC GTX 1650 Super. Now by now it's fairly obvious, isn't it, that the launches that we see are a tactical move to preclude the upcoming 5500 series. There are no surprises here, this is going to sit above the 1650 and then underneath the 1660. So this particular model from ZOTAC is a twin fan design which features no factory overclock, and judging by its size it'll be perfect for a small form factor build. You guys can expect 1650 Super to come in at around $159 in the US, and so this is a very affordable card. But I guess the question is, are you better to get the 1660 for slightly more of that 200 marker? Well, stick around to the end of the video and we're going to find out. Before we get into our review, today's video is brought to you by ASRock and their new flagship Z390 Phantom Gaming X. This new board is packed with features which set it apart from other Z390 boards. It has 802.11ax, otherwise known as Wi-Fi 6, giving you support for that new wireless standard with greater bandwidth, as well as providing bi-directional MIMO support. ASRock has given Gaming X a flexible integrated I/O shield, so you're not going to struggle to fit it into your case. And if you pair this up with the 9900KS, you have a powerful combo. Gaming X is ready for this new CPU, which has a 5GHz turbo boost, comes with 8 cores and 16 threads, giving you that nudge in performance over the standard 9900K. And you can find out more info at the link in the description. Okay, here is our ZOTAC GTX 1650 Super twin fan. The twin in its name obviously points to those two cooling fans, which are integral for the thermal design. The cooler is a pretty basic piece of kit, and we'll take more of a detailed look at it when we remove that from the PCB later on. And so this is a pretty small GPU. It's surprising really that ZOTAC didn't opt for a single fan instead of two, and perhaps they'll release a single fan version at another stage. But anyway, that shroud is plastic, the design is neutral, and so that should blend in with most systems. And this model here doesn't feature any RGB lighting. Being a small card means that it's going to be well suited to a small form factor rig. So for those interested, here are the actual dimensions. So for the length it is 160mm, for the width you're looking at around 100mm, and then the height is 35mm. This twin fan model is set at the stock settings, so there is no factory overclock applied to any of the frequencies. And so the base clock is set at 1530 MHz, and that boosts up to 1725. And the memory clock operates at 12,000. And so up against the 1660, this 1650 Super has less CUDA cores, less VRAM, and a slightly slower GPU boost. However, the Super is using DDR6, and so even though we get less capacity, it is faster. And as can be expected, this card is also PCI Express 3.0 compliant, it is DirectX 12 ready, and it supports OpenGL 4.6. Our card will occupy 2 spaces on your board and case, and looking at the back panel it reveals that this card is really aimed at basic functionality. And so we have just one DisplayPort 1.4, that gives you the 8K at 60, one HDMI 2.0, that gives you up to 4K at 60, and then one dual-link DVI-D, which can give you up to 2560 by 1600. To power this graphics card, you're going to need a 350 watt power supply with a single 6-pin connection. So that is not very demanding at all, and it should be easily attainable by most systems. Over on the reverse of the card we have just a bare PCB, so there is no protection here. However, since this card is very small and lightweight, it is unlikely to have any issues there with putting pressure on the PCI Express slot. After detaching the screws on that back section, here is our 1650 Super with the cooler detached. And so ZOTAC are using a double fan configuration here. Both fans are just 60mm, and it is a surprise there that ZOTAC hasn't extended that shroud and just gone with a larger single fan. And those fans sit on top of this large one-piece heatsink, which doesn't have any heat pipes running through it. And at the end of the video we'll be seeing how effective this cooler is. Since we have that heatsink off the card, we can also get a look at the inner workings. So across the board we have the inclusion of a 3+1 phase design, and as you can see at the heart of 1650 Super is NVIDIA's TU116, and so that is the same GPU that we see for the 1660, and we're dealing with 12nm Turing architecture here. Based on what we've seen already from NVIDIA, it'll come as no surprise that this card is designed for 1080p. So that is the overview complete. So let's now take a look at the gaming performance. We'll put this Super up against the standard 1660, and for this we have the Inno3D 1660 Twin X2. And in these benchmarks we'll be using 1080p and the high detail preset. And stick around to the end of these benchmarks as we'll reveal the temperature courtesy of GPU Z. Okay, and if we just come out of our last game, we can check out the temperature. And there we go, that is the maximum GPU temperature. So there you have it, that is the 1650 Super from ZOTAC. So this one here fills the gap between the 1650 and the 1660. The 1660 can be found for around 200-220 US. This Super is 159. So there is a bit of a saving to be had there. And as you've just seen in the performance, the Super went up against the 1660. It does a decent job. Certainly if you grab one with a factory overclock applied to it, it should almost be neck and neck with that 1660. Usually in our benchmark tests we run Ultra for the detail preset, but with this card 1080 Ultra is kind of out of reach. One interesting thing that you might have seen we discovered when comparing Red Dead is that this card actually performed better than the 1660, and that is likely down to the faster memory that you get with this card, which is the DDR6. One of the major benefits to this particular model of the 1650 Super is the fact that ZOTAC has created an extremely compact and a small card. This type of unit will be perfect if you intend to build inside a small form factor chassis where there isn't a lot of space, and it's powerful enough to give you good overall performance. This release here has obviously been one that's happened to preempt the RX 5500 series, which is due anytime soon. In the low to mid range, NVIDIA has pretty much got a card to cover every single price point. So if you're moving up from a 1050 or 1050 Ti, or even the 3GB 1060, then this 1650 Super or even the 1660 is a good option, good route to go with. So that is it for me today, guys, just a short and sweet one. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of this new card in the comments box below. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.